Tomatoes grow all over the ground.
Call the meeting in order, please rise for the pledge of allegiance.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Today is July 25th, 2016. Can I have a roll call, please?
Aaron, here. Caprows.
Here.
Whalen.
Here.
Coleman.
Here.
Basil.
Here.
Meyer.
Here.
And we have the minutes of the July 11th meeting. Any changes, additions, corrections? If not, is there a motion?
So moved.
There's a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
There is a second. Any questions or motion? Roll call.
Aaron. Abstain. Caprows.
Yes.
Whalen.
Yes.
Coleman.
Yes.
Basil.
Yes.
Meyer.
Yes.
Anyone from the audience wish to address the board? Finance and Administration, Trustee Meyer. I'm sorry, Clerk.
The total tax income, total tax revenue received since June 27th is $90,258.21. And attached to the clerk's report, the Knights of Columbus are requesting permission to sell Tootsie Rolls in the village for their annual Intellectual Disabilities Fund Drive from Friday, September 16th until Sunday, September 18th. A copy of the request and the letter of approval, if approved by the board, is in there that explains, you can't do any solicitation on any road intersecting Route 1. You have to wear safety vests and things like that, so are there any objections to that? All right, and I have a thank you letter here from the Village of Coal City. Addressed, Dear Assisting Partners, shortly over a year ago, your community or agency assisted Coal City in a time of need. Your assistance was critical in our response efforts. Thank you. You provided equipment, volunteers, skilled workers, support staff, and encouragement. Without your help, we could have never made the streets safe, cleared debris, protected property, and assisted our residents to return to the regular daily lifestyle nearly as quickly. Several of our partners have called to see how we are doing. We are happy to inform you that almost all homes have been restored or are in progress. Streets are clear, parks are being rebuilt, utility operations are normal, and our residents have returned to a pre-tornado lifestyle. Sometimes when we are focused on a specific task, it is easy to lose sight of how important our efforts are in the larger scope of things. The village has compiled the attached report, which, while only a summary, provides a more expansive view of the total recovery effort. The report serves to emphasize how important your individual tasks were to our final recovery. Again, thank you for your assistance, and it's signed by the Mayor, Terry Holliday, and all of the trustees of the village board. And I'll pass it on if you want to look through it.
We, just so you know, we sent a public works crew and a truck to Coal City for about 3 or 4 days. I don't know the exact number of days, but we sent a crew to help.
That's it.
That's all I have.
Finance and Administration, Trustee Meyer.
Commonwealth Edison has announced a pilot project in Beecher. 4 homes on Miller Street will be receiving a lithium battery backup supply unit capable of providing up to 1 hour of power in the event the electric supply goes down. The system is designed to provide uninterrupted service to customers experiencing frequent but short power failures. And there's a letter enclosed.
I want to know if Trustee Wheeling knows that ComEd to get lithium battery backup in his house.
The amount of electric used.
So you'll give us a first-hand report on how it works. Huh?
Yeah, I will.
And that concludes my report.
Public Buildings, Properties, Parks, and Rec.
New dumpsters in Fireman's Park. 2 of the big dumpsters were taken out. Now there's a roll-away dumpster in there, right, buddy?
No.
There's a different dumpster there in between who would say the state, from what I understand.
Yes.
Okay.
It's got a lock on it.
All right. Chief, you want to tell us about the police station flooding cleanup update? I saw that you were all, got everything out and everybody was cleaning last week, right?
Right. And so far, the office, the old building inspector's office where the floor and the walls were destroyed, that was the first thing they did. Got a new floor in there, new concrete, new drywall. They put that together. most of the cleaning is almost done now, with the exception of doing the tile floors in the administrative offices. That's pretty much all he's got left to do. The vent cleaning, we're gonna schedule that coming up. We got the painting of the floor and also the painting of that back room. And we're almost done there.
Good.
And they did wonderful job, excellent.
Do you need security fencing around your stuff when you paint?
No, because I think we're just gonna move it. We're just gonna paint, move it to another side. Just do it all inside. And we'll get together with Public Works on that to decide what kind of paint. And I know, we can even do it also in conjunction with them. But real happy with it. We've got some air purifiers going in the station now. So that was something that's exclusive, provided for us as part of their cleaning. So, excellent job, it's wonderful.
Good. Playground equipment donation possible. I know that Howard has been working on getting some type, getting a playground down from, where is it, Markham? I think it is located. Or it's a foreclosed property, and he was trying to get, work out something where we could buy it for a real reasonable price, because, this playground equipment is expensive. I mean, super expensive, and the dollar amounts that he was talking about in order to purchase this, was really unbelievable. Of course, the Parks Department, we don't have any cash, right? So I think we're looking at donations, from different groups around the community. There's been some that have already stepped up, or at least voiced some type of remark stating that they would help in this. The thing that the village would do is the village would, if Mr. Perry was able to work this out, to go up and get it and be the drive to pick it up, deliver it, install it, and so forth. So that would be the village's part in this whole playground equipment. We were talking about putting it up by Weltenstadt's Park. When we looked at it, we were thinking first of maybe putting it down at Fireman's Park, but this equipment is much too big for Fireman's Park. Fireman's Park needs a more condensed, more of a tot lot, type of thing. So we thought that equipment would look great up there at Weltenstadt Park.
Two things at the 4th of July meeting. He had a conversation with the attorney. He believes the attorney is going to write us a letter giving us authorization to remove the park equipment without any final and store it. And then once there's a final decision on the property, then if in fact it has to be returned, it would be returned, or we would just simply have it. The reason why we don't want to get analysis so it isn't any further vandalized. But the attorney would give us authorization to do that.
Okay.
Every week another piece comes up missing.
Yeah.
And then there's a possibility of maybe a no cost. And then also the last thing, he did get a cost from a company to remove it. You're talking, I think, $30,000 was it for a company to do it.
Yeah.
So it's still up in the air. Who knows where it's going to go.
As far as, now, buddy, did you check out the actual ground? I mean, what was that made up of? Was that a?
It's concreted in, and then it's got a
concrete?
rubber coating over it, so it's gotta be literally cut down, even with, the concrete. But it has to be probably taken down in sections. But I do agree with, Greg and them, we probably need to expedite doing that, because there's already one slide that was taken and another one was in the process of being removed.
Okay.
So, but we're not going up there without a letter, so it don't end up in the hoopscow.
Okay. All right, so that's the update on the playground equipment. That's the latest as of today. That ends my report.
Planning building is open.
Building department monthly report is closed for your review, and the July 28th meeting of the Planning and Zoning Commission has been canceled due to lack of agenda. And that ends my report.
Public safety, trustee Coleman.
Yeah, police department and code enforcement monthly report are, excuse me, are enclosed for your review. Incidents related to the 4th of July celebration. Chief, any comments?
Yeah, I'm pleased to announce there really wasn't any incidents. It's usually that 4 or 5 days during the celebration goes on. We have a couple arrests. You got a traffic arrest also, and this went very smooth, very well. I really can't put my finger on why this was such a, I want to use the word easy, because it's pretty easy other than the heat and, you know, the staffing. Maybe it was the police presence, the amount of people we had out there, the help we got from Peatone. I mean, that helped us out on the 4th also. The traffic after the fireworks, it went rather well. I'd say within 45 to 50 minutes, traffic was flowing smooth. It was heavy, but it was flowing good. But I'm real happy with the way the events turned out.
Thank you, Chief. Mosquito abatement update, buddy?
Well, we're still spraying on Thursday nights from probably dusk till about midnight, depending on the weather. If it rains, it'll get pushed off a day or two. That's where we're at with that.
Okay. Code enforcement program update. A part-time code enforcement officer has been promoted to full-time officer on the midnight shift. This does not work for the code enforcement program. Since July 1st, the chief has been handling code enforcement but this, not ideal since the chief has many other duties. Village staff has been working at several options, including outsourcing our new part-time officer or having the village hall take the program over. Over the next few weeks, a proposal will be presented to cover this important aspect of village service. Any questions of the chief or myself?
Chief, just to clarify something, I was approached by a resident who thought she heard us say that Officer Waterman resigned, and that's not actually the case, right? She just went back to work.
No, she resigned her full-time status. She is part-time. She is back on the schedule August, so she'll be back working.
Okay.
She just made a decision to go part-time as opposed to full-time.
Thank you. Public Works Committee, Trustee Forrest.
Water Department monthly report is enclosed for your review along with the Sewer Department monthly report. Water billing register is also enclosed for your review from May and June, where we achieved the 80% pump to bill ratio, which is especially impressive during the dry months that we had. 2016 valve turning program, buddy, is that complete now?
It's completed. I'm just waiting for the report to be delivered, and I'll share it probably at the next board meeting.
Did you, any verbal or anything?
No, they didn't seem to find anything that was really out of the ordinary, so.
What areas did you have in target for valve turning?
They were at south end and out to the west, or to the east rather.
Is everything east of Dixie basically?
Pretty much so, yes. You'll see all the bright blue, they've all been marked and arrowed. So that's the reason why.
So this should be if I'm not mistaken, we had this program broken up into thirds.
Into thirds, yes.
This is the final segment of 3, right?
Actually,
So we started
back over again.
Started back over,
Right.
rolled back over, so this is the phase 1 of the 3
Right,
then.
that's correct.
Okay, good. Standing water complaint and leak investigation in the 200 block of Fairway Drive. Buddy, you wanna?
Sure. Well, this started out because we had a complaint from a resident about the water standing in the road where water is purging up. It's been a long investigation. There were a couple times we called where he actually experienced water in his basement. He has yet to call me back since he's had a couple incidences where it was there, but he hasn't let us in to really investigate. And I explained to him that I needed to take a good look at it, but he's been a little hesitant about that. We have done leak detection in-house. We didn't find anything. We've done leak detection through Simpson, where we went through all the B boxes, all the valve boxes. What we did find is there's a couple bee boxes that are actually buried under some concrete driveways, because the lots were originally designed to be bigger lots, and then they subdivided them. So some of the properties have 2 bee boxes on their property. And somehow, some way, when the houses were built, in the earlier stages, we didn't, there wasn't a real inspection, you know, that was before my time, and the bee boxes were buried over. Since that time, you know, we pulled all the records for water usage, and there were 3 different houses, well, actually 2 different houses that had leaks in their sprinkler systems, and one had a koi pond in the back where their pump just kept running and running and running and filling up the pond. And then another one that we found was that one of the residents' sons was detailing vehicles for a dealer, and their water bill was like at $47,000 when it was usually around 10. So all of that and the water being used and thrown out there, we have found, you know, we've taken chlorine residuals all over the place. I really don't have an answer as to what's going on. All I know is the ground's saturated. And now there's another spot on the other side of the road. It leads me to believe that it is field tiles, and it's really hard to determine, even if we're taking it, because I am going to pick up chlorine residuals no matter where we go. Where Jonathan was out there with me, and where the one house that had the leak in the sprinkler system, remember when you had the sewer hook and pushing it down behind the curb line? That house was, the sprinkler system was leaking there. So, and they had like a 70,000 gallon usage.
This leak is not consistent.
No,
It purges once or twice a day, it comes out of the ground.
Well, different time. I've been here at different times of the night trying to figure out what the heck's going on, and it's almost like clockwork around. It'll be bone dry, and at noontime it'll maybe start peaking up a little bit. When it rains, it's real heavy. The ground is saturated right now. You just had a good 1.25 inches of rain, and it's pushed up. It's pushed up in a couple other places.
If it was a leak from our system, it would be.
It would be. You would believe it would be constant. Yes. I mean, it would be bubbling and purging. I mean, I don't have an answer for that. I mean,
Just so the board's aware, what's happening is this water where it's purging is right where the road crowns, which is the center of the road. Okay, and this is also happening right at the end of the road, in the cul-de-sac area where we just replaced all that asphalt. We just had to resurface that road. Everybody wondered, why did we have to replace just this portion of the road, basically from where that parkway splits at the turnaround down there? Well, there's water coming up. There's something going on underneath this road. Personally, I don't, as dry as it's been, I don't buy a field tile. I don't buy a field tile when you're getting chlorine residual coming up at the curb line in the road, coming out of a drain tile that leads to the pond back by the golf course where we went back there. I don't buy a field tile. I don't buy a field tile with chlorine residual, and with it being as dry as it is. I think there's something going on there, and we got to do more investigation. I think it's a little premature to give a report, and I mean, like Buddy said, I mean, there's still a lot of investigating that needs to be done, because there's no reason for water to purge up out of a brand new road in the center of the road and only in spots. It just doesn't make sense. So, and for that water purging up to have a chlorine residual, I don't buy drain tile. So, I don't know if we gotta do more leak investigation to the north, to the south, to the east, to the west.
It's real difficult right now because everybody is, I mean, it's like winter wonder, like a water park at nighttime. Everybody's dumping their water in, and yeah, I mean, I'm gonna pick up a chlorine residual. But you're right. I mean, I went over there this afternoon, and almost directly in line now on the other side, coming from the island, you can see there's a purged out area too. And
I said it from the first time we went out there, buddy. You can see the rust stains and everything else, which is the other thing. You go out there, you look. This is a brand new road that's less than a year old. There's rust stains in the road from where the water purges up. I mean, rainwater running through a drain tile wouldn't leave rust stains in the water like that. It's on the curb lines, and I don't know, I had the thought, I mean, I'd hate to do it, but maybe you got open land there in the middle, maybe an exploratory dig there in the middle, between the two sides, where it's just, I mean, what are you looking at restoration? Dirt and seed. I mean, it's just a grass island. It's nobody's property, so you're not affecting any homeowners or anything like that. If you got water coming in on one side of it, coming up on the one side, and you got water coming up on the other side, well, it'd be kind of silly not to dig in the middle and see where it's coming from, what direction it's flowing. Is it flowing from the east or north to the south? Is it flowing from the south to the north?
If that's what you wanna do, I mean.
I don't know. I mean, I think we gotta do some more exploring on it. And
Well, I'm not throwing a towel in that. I'd like to end the mystery and have it done with, because at the end of the day, you're right, you really cannot allow that water to be sitting there, especially with the winter time coming up. It will just freeze and purge, and all it's gonna do is alligator all of that asphalt that you put in.
we just spent $60-something thousand on road in that area, right? It was about 50,000.
Do you know what that subdivision was before it was developed as a subdivision?
It was
Was it
part of the golf course.
And I'm wondering if there's a golf course irrigation issue when they start filling their ponds or turning on, you know, if there's a pipe that leads down there.
Well, the problem we have.
I don't know why there'd be chlorine.
Exactly,
Yeah,
is the
village,
chlorine
the
residual.
golf course irrigation system is straight out of a well.
Right.
So they got their own wells, so they really wouldn't come into the fact of why there's chlorine.
So you did get a chlorine reading,
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
heavy chlorine reading?
Yes, well, it depends, they're diluted. I've gotten heavy ones in the gutter pan, and on a discharge where I found a field tile going into the one pond, and it's just pouring in there. But
that one wasn't as strong.
it was a diluted residual,
There
but
was-
it did show traces of
When
chlorine.
it was, when I was with Buddy, one day there was actually standing water in the curb and that, and it was 90-degree day. And you took that sample, I mean, that was pink. There's nothing that tells you, like with like a strip to tell you, you know, how much. Does it turn pink or does it stay clear? So it's up to your own eye as to how pink it is, unless
Oh, yeah.
I've never seen the strip that shows.
No, we can run it through a dial, but you know what, the stronger the pink, the
Yeah, this
higher
is
the
strong
residual.
now, and the drain tile running out to the pond, but for the golf course behind the homes on the far east side. That was pretty, it was pink, but it wasn't as strong as some of the other ones we had. But there's definitely pink chlorine, so.
You pick up one street and lose the other street with water.
I don't, you know, who knows, I mean, but our pump to build is at 80%, so I mean, we're moving in the right direction.
When you're talking about digging, I just have visions of what we did over on Pine Lake.
They dig the China.
All right, Penfield Street water main update. The loan cap application has been submitted. We're waiting for the loan offer. Bidding of the project is expected to occur after Labor Day with construction beginning this winter. There was some discussion 2 months ago about doing a section of Penfield early by the fire station. I don't know what everyone's thoughts on that are now. I mean, we got it kind of zeroed in. We know that it's not happening now. Bidding until after Labor Day, I think we're good, yeah. And let that die.
I don't know, whether or not we want to spend the money to do it or take a gamble. You know, I still have a concern that, and granted, it's not doing it now, we had breaks on Miller, Catawba,
In Indiana.
in Indiana this time. So, like we said before, is once we fix one thing, it's gonna move to another, and right now, it's.
Yeah, what section do you fix?
It worries me, that section with the post office there, the fire station there, Carnival being there, although that still may get moved a little bit and may solve that problem, I just have a concern, it's like Maxwell, it's gonna continue maybe we could talk about it, probably when it happens again. Do we ever get a price to do a permanent fix, not a temporary fix?
No, we did not.
I mean, that, we probably, I think, if
Well-
I read everything correctly, it was a temporary fix, not what I thought. I thought we would actually fix that one section. And I don't think we got a price to do that.
If you want me to get a price and give it to you cradle to grave and not, when we, you know, had the price that was brought to you, we literally got that bid sent over here at 3:30 in the afternoon. That day of the board meeting, I think it was the last board meeting that we had going into the 4th of July, so that's why it was presented in the manner that it was. But I do believe that in that quote, it had a quote for putting 8-inch in there. And I'd have to go back and look at it, but I do have numbers for the stone and everything else. So, Josh and those guys are out there, I'll just have them, in fact, I know they're gonna be doing work up in Nantucket Cove, I'll just ask them to give me a price from, what, the bridge to the end of Reed Street? Or from the bridge to Woodward?
Bridge to Woodward is what I was thinking.
Okay.
Why don't you get a price, and then John, why don't you have a committee meeting?
Sure. Do that.
And like I said, not temporary.
No, it would be
Mentioned
permanent.
prior, Our intention is to get this main replaced before the next 4th.
Yeah, it should be,
Yeah, so we're looking at a window of 12 months
yeah.
right now, less than 12.
The idea of, which is what I like what the mayor's talking about, the idea of that is just, when you do the project, all they're doing is pick it up where you're starting, and then skipping over what you've done, and then picking right back up where you ended, and then carrying through. But we'll have that meeting. Results of the sewer plant design kickoff meeting on July 13th. Details of the process operations and design details were discussed. The schedule may be pushed back to October 1, 2017 loan offering, while still achieving the 1.82 interest rate. It also appears that the current salt shed may be able to be saved. The full design of the plant should be complete by November. And then I did get that email where they forwarded over the correct schedule, because they had that other one, and that's where it looks like it's fallen. Would that be design meeting, or is that where we'd be taking the design to the board?
The board will probably get the design in November, December.
November, December, okay. Buddy, Cardinal Creek median.
The median,
Backfill?
that's done, we're done over there. We cut it out, we dug it down. Instead of putting hot patch in, which would have been, what, $8,000 something, we ended up putting cold patch in. We put 25 tons of cold patch over there. So, actually it looks like it's gonna work pretty well. I mean, I'm not gonna say that we're not gonna have to go back at a point in time and do some point repairs, but that part is done. We started working on the back sides of the sidewalk. If you drive over there, you can see all the dirt that's put in there. I'm not sure if we're supposed to seed it or not. I mean, is that the plan?
You talk about the sidewalk now?
Yeah.
I'm sure the weeds will pop up eventually, you know? But we had to get
Just
that
looking
thing,
for,
we had to get that thing back
Well, I-
because the walk was 6 inches
Well, I know.
higher than grade.
but you know, our source of backfill, you know, as per your direction, that's working out fine. And that job should be.
I don't know if that will sustain grassy, will it?
I don't see why it wouldn't.
Do you have this seed?
No, we'd have to buy it, but we didn't spend the money to have, there should be some money left over there.
I'll tell you what, when you're done backfilling it, then it could be on the agenda for that committee meeting as well.
Yeah, that would be a fall, I would put that seed.
Yeah, you put winter wheat in there and we just go over with the cedar.
Yeah.
But for right now, the main thing is to get all the dirt in, and we are just about done with that.
Okay. All right, so took care of 9, Bald Eagle sidewalk backfill update.
That's what I was
Yeah.
just talking about.
Safe Routes to School project update. Project is in full swing. Bob, you got a report on that?
Yeah, the only thing that's missing is the solar powered flashing school zone lights, which haven't come in from the manufacturer yet. Other than that, once those come in, they'll pop them in and they'll be done. That's what's holding us up. We hope to have it all done before school starts. But of course, with the state shutting down, that pushed everything back a few weeks.
Ash tree removals, to begin in the month of August, trees will be tagged for removal first and then taken down as Public Works has time. This will allow for winter removals. Consider a pilot project to purchase and install 4 solar-powered LED streetlights for Chestnut and Willow Lanes at a cost not to exceed $1,500. These 2 streets have no streetlights and a request was received to have lights installed. However, all the electric lines are in the rear easement and it would cost a fortune to get it pulled up to the front. Through, especially with that being such an older area of town with the trees and everything else. And so anyway, we had discussed and this so the rest of the board knows, this came up 4 months ago or so. I let Ron know because it kind of falls under, I received a complaint from the resident. It kind of falls under public safety too, with not being adequate lighting. Me and Ron went out there one night after a meeting, and it was pitch black and it's dark. It's dark. This was something, we brought it to Bob's attention. This is something Bob had kind of come up with. I think it's kind of a good idea. Anyway, in the packet, you can see the lights that we're talking about. They're just basic street lights, street lamps. It's just an idea. If we can put, we talked about, now when you say 4, we're talking 4 on Chestnut and 4 on
2
Willow.
on Chestnut and 2 on Willow. I don't think, for the 1,500, I think these were 300 apiece. I mean, figure 1,200 for lights plus 300 for the cement and the sonotubes.
Unless I read this wrong, this appears to be nothing more than a yard light.
That's it.
Okay.
I don't think one's gonna do it on each side.
Really budget for money.
Well,
The idea is if we can put a couple of these up and see what kind of light you get out of these.
You know what's gonna happen when the people see it.
Oh, everybody's gonna want one.
Where's mine? Where's mine? That's what's
If I
gonna
can
happen.
offer a suggestion, is we have the IML conference coming up where usually there are several light dealers as vendors, number 1. So I would hold off on purchasing anything. Number 2 is why don't we send a promo type advertisement to those 2 streets indicating what we would like to do, and see what if any feedback we get from the residents in that general area.
Yeah, I'm fine with all that. We kind of discussed that. So I mean,
So you're looking at a survey letter?
Not a survey letter, just that we have picked these 2 streets because they are in fact dark. As we brought to our attention, we want to install some type of street lighting there. Just telling them what we're doing, you know, and then from that, if we get positive or negative feedback, I'm sure it would prompt something from the letter that we sent out. Again, I don't think this is going to happen, but by doing that, we're telling them what we're going to do so that if in fact we happen to put a bright light in front of somebody's house that doesn't want a bright light, it could go either way. Again, I don't think that's going to happen. I think it's a positive thing. It's just that telling the residents on those 2 blocks what we're planning on doing at some time in the future, I think would help. So in other words, the positive promotion of what we try to do. And then like you said, it's a pilot project, trying something new with the LED solar lighting. It could save money by putting electric in the future.
I personally think it's gotta be some sort of lamp that overhangs the street, not just a straight up post. Like you said, I mean, a straight up post.
Does look like
Like a
regular yard light.
Yeah.
And that would more direct the light straight down. In fact, if you don't know it, apparently in that subdivision where you're getting your ComEd thing, there was a block of LED lights now that they
Yeah.
installed. There's like 6
It's on
LED light
Orchard,
street
isn't
lights.
it? It's on Orchard,
Yeah.
your street.
Yeah, by your
I didn't
house.
want to say whose street it was on.
Is that a pilot program?
It's a pilot program. ComEd for some reason came out and not, on on the corner, there's roughly about 6 of them. There were LED lights, and one thing I did notice, they're more direct downward than outward. So that would work much better than something like this, and I realized we were just investigating it.
I don't know if solar is to that point. Those LEDs are still electrified. The product I see does not produce
No.
the lumens you need from a overhanging street.
Yeah, I think we investigate when we go in there, you know, and it's the best thing, since it's so close, I mean, if we're talking months away, it'd be a different story, but we're only, what, month and a half away? You know, they're probably gonna say in the meantime, we'll get the letter out on what we're gonna do.
Sounds good. All right, that concludes my report.
Do we send this letter to Willow too, or just Chestnut? Both streets are part of that subdivision.
We didn't do both streets. Willow was, Chestnut was bad. Chestnut was pitch black. Willow's not that bad, but they also have no streetlights. They're the only two that I found in the entire village. They got them at each end, but nothing in the middle. Every other one, country, meadow, and every other street in town is got them, except for these 2 streets.
Yeah, the reason for that is they wanted gas lamps. The original owners didn't want streetlights of those homes. They wanted gas lamps, and that's how that happened.
Yeah.
Put the promotional letter out there and investigate it from there.
Okay.
Okay, economic development, trustee Beecher.
Okay. Meeting with the historical downtown business owners. The meeting was held this morning with all the owners down on Gould Street. I believe Mr. Salmons was the only one that was not there. They were all thrilled about the boardwalk, and they're looking forward to it. There was they were all totally in favor. So that leads to my next thing. Consider a motion waiving the bid for the construction of the boardwalk. Please see the enclosed opinion from the village attorney that this motion will require a 2/3 vote of the board to waive bids for this project. Due to the uniqueness of the project, these proposals were received on this project without a formal spec produced by an architect. It would be difficult to accomplish a bid process. Instead, 3 local contractors were solicited for a proposal based on our general idea of what we wanted. So,
And this is the bid for the, is it cedar or is it treated lumber?
this is going to be wovenite lumber.
We can't afford the more fancy stuff.
Well, I saw some of the bids, 162,000.
Yeah,
200 and some.
200,000, 180,000.
Unbelievable.
So, that's why I'm gonna make a motion to waive the bid for the construction of the boardwalk.
There's a motion on the floor, is there a second?
Second.
There is a second, any questions on the motion? Roll call.
Meyer,
Yes.
Basil,
Yes.
Coleman,
Yes.
Whalen,
Yes.
Burrows,
Yes.
Karen. Yes.
Okay, consider a motion authorizing the award of a bid to B&B Construction for the installation of a boardwalk. 3 bids were received and opened and are enclosed for your review. There was a wide range in pricing and a wide range of materials used and design. The lowest of the 3 proposals, B&B, offered plastic conduit under the boardwalk as an option, and the use of the village employee to assist self-employed sole proprietor business. This total cost of the bid was $44,600. This would be for a 2x6 lumber decking with railing built from lumber on site. There would be a need to seal and stain the deck at least every other year. So I'd like to make a motion authorizing the award of the bid to B&D Construction for the installation of a boardwalk.
There's a motion on the floor, is there a second?
Second.
There is a second, any questions of the motion?
Yes.
Yeah.
John, you first.
I have a question. My question would be, is the material going to be purchased by the village, or is it part of the bid?
It's part of the bid.
I
No, the contract is fine with material.
We got two of them in here, what's the difference between the two?
One's
From
with
the OND, one's with the electric?
Yeah,
Yeah, one's with the conduit.
We budgeted 40,000, John, so the one with the conduit would be going over our project budget, but I think it's pretty important to have that in there, in case you wanna run electric under that boardwalk at some point in the future for lighting or.
there was discussion about putting decorative lighting on that at some time in the future, so if we're gonna deck it, I think it'd be crazy not to put piping.
Yeah, absolutely. And my second thing is, I do not like the supplying a public works employee to work alongside. Absolutely against that.
It would increase the price of the project.
I don't see a need for our public works employees to work side by side with a contractor. If we're gonna contract somebody to do the job, let them supply the manpower. Our public works employees need to be doing the duties of our public works
Then we should
department.
consider the GDK bid there at 162. That's about similar.
Well, here's my thing. When he's working side by side, workman's comp, he's covered. We're covering that?
We would verify this guy, yeah.
I don't like it. I don't like it one bit. I don't see it. I don't think it's appropriate.
What's the length of time that this project is gonna take? I mean, what are we talking?
Could be 60 to 90 days. We have to work around business hours as well, because there will be 2 functioning businesses on that street by the time we start this project. So we have to work around their hours.
And then we pay overtime or something when he runs late or something
It's
like that.
possible, yeah, it's possible.
With their new contract, I think if you're gonna contract somebody to do it, contract somebody to do it. The whole, just like that M&J, I don't like, well, the village is gonna supply this, the village will supply that end of it. If you're gonna contract somebody to do it, contract somebody to do it. We'll give you a guy, well, okay, if it's 30 days, it's 30 days, if it's 65 days, it's 65 days, if it's 14 days, it's 14 days. I mean, what do we know? We're already running a man short on part-time help. What's that gonna do to the department?
But unfortunately, this project is also over budget. And if we do that, if it's 40, 50, 60, it's not, we don't have it in budget, so we may have to take it. I can't get it any lower than this. And unless we wait a year and say we'll come back and rebudget it for next year at a higher number, we could do that.
Any other questions or comments? Okay, you have 2 choices. With the points that were just raised, if you have an opinion that possibly it should be tabled rather than going through what I did the last time, you would just call for the vote.
Can I make one more comment? It is true, Paul Works is one man short right now too, is that correct?
Yes, it is, and I won't know what direction we're going with that until after August 6th.
But can I ask Buddy a question? Buddy, who would you plan on putting out?
Oh, God. I just want you to know that I haven't even talked to Jonathan or anything about this, so. Who would go over there? The most qualified person would be Jim Pareto.
There was some discussion that there are others have volunteered to go down there and help them do work. I don't know if that's an option. Bottom line is, does it have to be a public works employee? It does not. It's gotta be another body. So what I'm getting at is, I know Trustee Basil.
I'm volunteering.
And I
I'll be there
volunteer
every day.
myself. I don't know if that's an option. I don't think there is any harm tabling it for 1 month, so if you want to make a motion to table, call for that vote. If that fails, then it's back on the table again, and then it would come up next month automatically.
Or next meeting.
I'm just one opinion.
Yeah,
There was just motion on that second, so.
Can we really do that, being these guys are union?
Well, I have to admit that that occurred to me while this discussion was taking place. And it did not occur to me up until tonight. So my thinking is, the best thing is that we discuss with the contractor whether or not he would agree to, as long as we can supply him with somebody, not necessarily a public works employee. So maybe the motion could be, we strike the word public works employee and we provide help of some sort.
Volunteer.
Volunteer.
And then we can let him withdraw his contract if he so desires, if he can't agree to that stipulation.
That would require whoever made the motion to amend his motion to remove the stipulation of a public works employee.
I amend the motion to authorize the bid to B&B Construction of the installation of the boardwalk and strike village employee from the bid.
Maybe put a volunteer there.
And put volunteer in its place.
That's what it is.
I'll second it. I second it.
Okay, I got one more question. What happens if a volunteer goes down there and cuts his hand off?
That's a real problem, because I'm gonna tell you, in Fireman's Park, your beer stand and your building were built by volunteers.
I understand that.
Yeah.
What happens?
I've always thought of that, John. What if somebody gets hurt?
They're not covered under B&D, in no way. You're looking at a nice potential lawsuit. I'm all for volunteering, helping out, and this and that, but you keep, at some point, you gotta pony up and pay for the things you want done. You can't build a town on volunteerism. I'm all for it. It's needed. It's, you know, the park, everything else that's been done, the beer stands, the storage garage, and everything else. Every time we need something done, we can't rely on volunteers or have volunteers do it.
It's a little bit different. We're not, we ponied up. It wasn't asked of us. We're the ones who put stuff up to the plate to try to get the project done faster.
Yeah. And I understand all that, but, I mean, like with this, I admire Frank. I mean, he's retired, he's willing to go down there every day. I mean, I think it's very admirable that he's willing to do that, but at the same time, I have concerns. I mean, you know, what if Frank's not there and you gotta supply him with somebody? Somebody else shows up down there for a day to help him. Who's covering this person if they?
Well, the villages, but you know, we cover all the commissioners. Everything we do has a liability to it. I mean, just the parade itself, someone get run over.
There's a difference between a parade and building a boardwalk for your downtown area. Don't compare the two, please. It's apples and oranges.
Got a
I
suggestion.
understand commissioners being covered, stuff like that, but this is apples and oranges.
May I suggest that everybody withdraws their motion, we'll further investigate and we'll have better questions next, we'll have answers to your questions at next meeting.
Okay, I withdraw my motion authorizing a bid for B&D Construction for the installation of the boardwalk.
We'll have more information for you next meeting.
Okay, meeting with the new owners of Balmoral is scheduled for Wednesday, August 10th. Several trustees will be attending along with the village president. Committee and the village president will to attend economic development training session. The session will be held on August 24th, hosted by the Will County CED, and will focus on what elected officials can do to attract industry and commercial development. RP Lumber purchased Beatty lumber property. This is now official as R&P makes modifications to the building for a full-service contractor store. The village is thrilled to have R&P Lumber as a new business in town. The Vincent Bike Trail extension. I've been working on several fronts to move forward with the project, but at this point, there's no updates at all. If there's any other questions, that ends my report.
Okay, we were originally turned down by CMAP for a $10,000 grant, matching 50-50 grant for the generator. Somehow, they found some money and now they award that grant. So we will have, in fact, the work has already begun to change out the gas regulators and so on and so forth.
This, we have to pay for half on
And
this.
we have to pay it to 50/50, so it's a $10,000 grant, they're giving us $5,000, we gotta pay $5,000. And then bottom line is we have the transfer switch and everything installed, hook up the generator, and we have the generator. In the Public Works contract, Columbus Day is a holiday. My suggestion is to extend that to the remaining employees. Columbus Day is in fact a federal holiday, where the banks are closed and so on and so forth. And it had been on my mind to offer that. And since it was in the Public Works contract, my suggestion is if someone would make a motion to approve that holiday for the other non-union employees. Bob and I differ on this. You can do it that way, or you can just do it all employees. We have a contract with the police department, it's true. Columbus Day is not there. We're not obligated to give it to them because of that contract, but at the same token, it's only a matter of time where they do get it. So, it's whatever you want to do. If you don't want to do anything, that's your choice. But
So move.
which way? All employees?
Yeah, whatever you want.
Just thanks, that would be an economic, it wouldn't be an economic issue now because the police work the holidays. They would just get 8 hours of straight time pay on their check for Columbus Day, is that correct?
Plus time and a half for working it.
Yeah.
And then if we did it with only non-union employees, there's no economic impact at all.
For non-union employees. That's my motion.
Okay. Is there a second for the?
Second.
There is a second. Any questions on that motion? Roll call.
Meyer,
Yes.
Basil,
Yes.
Coleman,
Yes.
Whaling,
Yes.
Capros,
Yes.
Aaron. Yes.
Any other old business to come before the board? Any new business to come before the board? Is there a motion to adjourn?
So move.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any questions? Roll call.
Aaron. Yes. Capros.
Yes.